Hey guys, first on is Talk Fast TV. We're all here with Matt.
Hello, how's it going?
Hiya. Oh, hi, you.
Yeah, not
Um,
too bad. A bit of a sleepless night after yesterday. It's the morning after the night before.
it's like having a really bad hangover after what.
yeah, yeah, well, an endless one. I'm still recovering from the 1980s hangover from Cluffy and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're going into Wednesday's game against Boro after yesterday's defeat. I mean, how do you feel about it?
Well, it was awful, wasn't it? Really, it was the same old. Really, just the same old thing. We got a goal for a change. So it was a bit of a bonus. Reasonable 50-50 first half, and he just sat on it again, didn't he? Really, he didn't really change much, like for like, and there you go. What's they mugged us, and he didn't respond at all. I mean, it was kind of obvious what was going to happen, and I think everyone in the ground was virtually thinking possibly three at the back or do something at least, and he just kept everything the same. The balls flew in. They scored their couple of goals. They could have got 3 or 4 probably quite easy in that period, and then they switched off really, and they gave us a chance, but we didn't even make a fist of taking any opportunity they were giving us, because they sat back after that.
Yeah, I mean, it was that double change they made that to completely shut Forest up, and for that 10-15 minutes, they could have 3 or 4.
Yeah, they bombed us. You'd imagine it was going to be more, but I think it was more distracted the defenders, and obviously they had to keep their eye on him. But yeah, they had a couple of headers, didn't they? And one that hit the post and so forth. So it could have been worse, but does it matter? It's the same story, really.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, going into Wednesday night, can you see Forest plunging some Barcelona performance?
Well, you'd have to be a fool, wouldn't you, really? You
Yeah.
literally, I mean, it's the definition of insanity to keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. You will eventually, we will win a game, if we do this, because you know what it's like. Football's like that. Yeah, we could have won that last game. Everything might have hit the post, but it didn't. And, more often than not, it will bite you in the arse, and it keeps biting us at the moment. And you can't leave it to chance, can you? You can't just cross your fingers. That's what he seems to do. He seems to think, pick the same old team, play the same old way. To be fair, he did try like 2 up front, if you want to call it that, but it worked semi well, I think. The fullbacks look quite good. The defense is kind of all right, and every defense is going to struggle against that physical presence, and if they're bombing the ball in and you're giving them too many free kicks and long throws, it's not going to be pretty, is it? If you're Liverpool, it's going to look ugly. But it's going to be the same thing, isn't it? He isn't going to have any exciting Paraguayan midfielders to call upon or anything interesting like that by Wednesday. So I think it's going to be pretty much the same team, a couple of tweaks maybe. And, it'll just be cross your fingers and don't expect anything and see what happens. And we could win, but we could just as easy get beaten 4-1 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been like that yesterday. How did you feel about if I was playing 4-4-2? Because it was quite. I think when I seen it, I was quite surprised myself. We went to top, so
they didn't really play a straight 2 though, did they? I mean, they did a bit. You were watching it and you're thinking, oh, they're doing this. I thought like Taylor played reasonably well in the first half. When you came back and watched on TV, he looked energetic, and they kind of talked them up at halftime, didn't they? Really, which was kind of fair comment. But in the second half, he was isolated and frustrated and waving his arms around and trying to buy fouls and things, and no one was buying them off him at that point. So it was, personally, I would have taken him off then and put Grabban forward and brought someone into the midfield, or gone to a back 3 with the wing backs, which would have made more sense. So but we just did like for like with the wingers and stuff, didn't we? And I thought Lolly looked a little bit better. He looked a little bit more like he remembered what football was, and he was enjoying it a little bit more, maybe from his under-23 outing. I thought the fullbacks looked quite good, especially Max Lowe. Got better, but give him a few more weeks and that'll be beaten out of him if Ayuda's still around.
Yeah, I mean that was the biggest difference was fullbacks. I mean, it's a shame that Spence can't play on Wednesday, but that was the massive difference was the fullbacks because they were bombing forward and it was just felt like, especially on the left wing with Johnson and Lowe, it just reminded me of the days of Matty Cash and Lolly. I mean, I don't know if you agree with it.
A bit carried away there. Yeah. You had had too much to drink on your birthday. Yeah. You get hallucinating. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It'll be interesting to see what they do on Wednesday because, you know, they could bring back. I don't know who they can't pick the Olympiacos guy, can they? And the Arsenal one's injured, so Jaden Richardson might be a call as well, perhaps playing in his position. I don't know. I don't know what the pecking order is now. I see the under-23s had to make 5 or 6 changes, and they won again, second time in a week. And Back didn't play for them, so maybe they rested him with the thought for Wednesday. I don't know.
I think it was Back, Hammonds, and I think the other Hammond didn't play as well. I think quite a few of them. Our Bottle as well.
Yeah, and obviously all the senior players didn't play, so you know that makes sense. But yeah, so we'll see. I hope perhaps Back comes back, I guess, but you know we'll have to wait and see because he was nowhere. I thought yesterday our bench was strongest bench in the league. You know, you'd win the league title with that bench, wouldn't you? Really, I'd have been quite happy just switch them out myself. But yeah, you know, what can you say?
Yeah, I mean, Wednesday night not going to be any more easy with Neil Warnock. I mean,
he'll be licking his lips at the moment.
Yeah,
his mouth will be watering. Yeah, you can just see him, can't you? You can just see him rubbing his hands as he's on the bus all the way down for 2 or 3 hours or something. Yeah, you know, he does it when it's a difficult job, but it should be a walkover, really, with his record against us. Yeah, I mean, you know, we could just as easily win. I don't think we've got like a bad squad in terms of ability, but they're not enjoying their football. They're bang out. You know, realistically, they're not going to suddenly turn up and all click because it's all been sort of ground out of them. So, you know, assuming the same geezers in the dugout, I think, unfortunately, they're going to perform in a similar fashion and we'll probably end up with a similar result.
Yeah, I mean, we're all recording this before anything does get.
Yeah, we should do another one. Like, oh, great news!
Yeah,
a big boost at the club. Finally, the energy vampire has left the building.
Yeah,
yeah, and like everyone's smiling again. Yeah, but seriously, you know, you can just see the way they're playing. They're not. And the other thing was the fans. I thought that was one of the other key things. Previous games, which had gone slightly tits up, the fans had got angry, started shouting, but there was an acceptance of like, oh well, this is it. What do you expect, kind of thing. There was no response. You know, less so than on the pitch. And if you look at the dugouts in the last sort of 20 minutes. If you didn't know better, you'd think Mick McCarthy was the one chasing the game, the way he was jumping up and down, waving his arms around, you know, and they were hanging on quite comfortably. It wasn't like they were in the trenches, you know, fighting for their lives. But he was the one with all the energy, the animated manager, and the box in general. It just looks like we're waving the white flag, not the red flag.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to touch up on that because I was reading a lot of things last night on Twitter about like how badly disjointed the club is at the minute from like the fan base to the club because it's like you said. I mean, they came very acceptance of yesterday's performance, so and it's like we don't. there's nothing coming from the club to actually say this is what's happening.
It's baffling, isn't it? I mean, to me, ever since like the Karanka debacle, when there was like a 2-week period when he had been sacked and then he wasn't sacked, and they were trying to make a reason for him to be sacked, and then they kind of just did it eventually, and then the appointment of O'Neill, and then the construction of a story about a player uprising that never really happened, that they were basically trying to provoke, almost like, you sure you know tell us all the bad things about him and stuff, and all the stories that came out, which were all fabricated around that. And then you had Sabri, which was a reasonably good fit, and he had some success, but then I don't know what happened during lockdown, but he lost his mind and went so defensive, did the biggest screw up in history. And then they still kept him when they could have got rid of him.
Bought 19 players.
Yeah, they kept buying players all along, didn't they, for some kind of unknown reason. And then they're stuck with him. Then they brought in Houston. We're gone from 7th to 17th, and they seem reasonably happy. And they've said, carry on, carry on. Now he's doing exactly what he did last season. A little bit worse. He's perfected it. A little bit worse. Because now you're looking at what it is, 6. Who cares? 6, 7 games out of it is 1 point. We're going to be having trouble getting to the 11, aren't we? At this way, and we're still not sure what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, I'd like to think the Dane Murphy thing is a whole change of direction, and we're going to actually see it now. And I'd love to know the dynamics in the boardroom, whether he's there and he's sort of, he's got his chess pieces on the table and he's lining them all up and he's just about to press the go button and we're going to launch into a whole new era, or whether it's same old. And it's all the people behind the scenes pulling the strings, getting a lawyer to make them look sort of fit and proper, and someone else to sort of look after the fans and tame the fans, so there's no comment like there was with Farwar's era, and the trust to answer to the club rather than the club answer to the trust, and everyone associated with the club to keep their mouths shut and never say anything, like David Johnson was talking about yesterday and various other people who've left the club. If you rewound 2 or 3 years, the club was full of people that cared about it, and now you're struggling, aren't you? There's not many. And the first thing I would do is put 4 or 5 people in that boardroom who are Forest through and through, bleed red blood when you cut them rather than something else, and let them have a big say-so in what's going on and get listened to. Because, it's not working, is it, at the moment?
I know, and it's kind of telling on the mattress as well. I mean, we don't know what has happened, and it just seems to be like it's telling on the pitch massively.
Well, they're going to lose a generation of fans, aren't they? I mean, personally, I don't mind so much about winning or losing. You look at every other club in the league, whether it's Reading or QPR or something. They'll have a bad season, they'll have a good season, and it kind of happens. But you just hope to see progress. You do want to see continuity if you can. We just seem, I don't know, this just seems to be loads of different agendas that are not simply just to do with football. It should be all about football. I feel like Forest, they'd rather there wasn't any football involved and it was just a business. It's just a construction business, or it was just I don't know, some kind of financial institution that's used to do financial things, rather than the football club. The football ruins it, whereas it should all be about the football. Everything, it should be full of people who are there purely for the football, and who would do it for nothing, who would pay for the privilege of playing, managing, running the club, doing the PR, everything. And at the moment, it's all, let's not tell the truth, let's hide it, let's cover it up, let's all keep our jobs. That's what it is to me.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. I mean, the David Johnson tweet, I mean, I know Jono can come out and speak the mind, but when I read it, I was like, wow. I mean, I
Well,
think that
he'll be on the phone now, won't he? He'll be having his 2-hour phone call trying to explain it. Yeah, there was a couple of grammatical things, but otherwise, you got to listen to these guys. He wore the shirt with distinction for a few seasons. And he knows football inside out, and he wants what's best for the club, I'm sure, and for his son. And who do you listen to? I don't know who anyone's listening to, but people like that, you probably should. You should at least pay attention to them, even if you don't agree with them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
not try and shut them up.
Yeah.
Learn something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hopefully Wednesday night, hopefully we might get some fun club before Wednesday, but not expecting much. What do you think scoreline will be on Wednesday?
Well, it's going to be a maximum of 3 goals. You'd like to think. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine let's say we'll lose 1-0. You could just pull it out of a hat. You could say 0-0, 1-1, 1-0 either way. It probably won't. I don't think we're a live prospect enough for them to. They'll just turn up and try and just win, and that should be relatively easy. Most other teams, you think, oh, they might come at us and all this sort of stuff, and you will get a few goals. With us, we're like a dead cat. It's just a dead cat bounce you got to deal with, and that's about the limit of it, I feel. So I would think, a goal either way. Let's say we lose. Let's hope. I'm almost hoping we lose, if that's what it takes to get a change.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, a lot of people are expecting us to lose on Wednesday, unless if there's change. Yeah.
It has to be done. It's no good for anyone. The whole thing's just not working, is it? It's not any good for Houghton. Houghton's the fact that we also, he's a good bloke and stuff. I'm sure he is a good bloke. I'm sure he's a nice old bloke. Good on him. He's had a good career. Thank you very much. But right now it's not working at all, is it? I mean, it really isn't. And there's no sign he's got any clue. If he was saying, right, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, he doesn't know. They're bringing in players. He doesn't know what they're like, what they're going to, he said it himself. He doesn't know what they're going to do, if they're good enough and all. Well, he should know they're good enough. He should be making sure we're good enough to get promoted, not sort of just stay in the league. It's insane. There's no joined up thinking as far as I can see. So thank you very much. Get someone new in, and everything's on Murphy's plate, really. He's the guy that's come in. He's the one that has to make the decisions. It looks like a few of the signings have been his. He's got to have a vision, whatever it is. And if the next thing I can see is him leaving if he's not allowed to do his job. You know, like the other guy did.
It will make you think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that choice, isn't it? Either he does his job, he's allowed to do his job, and we're going to see it because it's such a mess. It's not like it's not a small, subtle tweak. It's going to have to be something fairly dramatic. And personally, I think we've got the rest of this season. The season's gone. I mean, the season had gone for me as the first day that Houghton was still there, because you just know he's not going to get us in the top 6. That's guaranteed. Mid-table maybe, but not top 6. So the season was another write-off as soon as they decided to keep him. We've got the best part of it now, another window to come. Change it now, get someone in, play a lot of the kids, send some of the blinking loan people back if you have to, save some money, put it in the piggy bank for next season. Don't even bother at Christmas. Just make sure we don't get relegated. Give some games to some of the kids, find out if they're good enough, have them ready for next season. You might even have a couple you have to sell if you have to balance the books, and then let's start again, with a manager who's on the same page as the CEO and is playing the right kind of football that might get us promoted, even if we have to wait, not this season, not next season, the one after that, or even the one after that. It's a long journey now. We've successfully become a relegation candidate. you know, it's not like a small tweak from 7th to sort of 6th or 2nd. It's now a big job. So it's going to take a couple of years. So I don't think that matters. Personally, I'm quite happy if we take 3 years, but it's a gradient that you can see going up, leading to promotion.
Yeah,
but at the moment, it isn't, is it? There's no sign. There's no sign. It's like you're going down a long, dark road at night, and there's no turning. So you know you're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's like you see it's like going through the tunnel. You can't see the light.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like going through the Euro tunnel. You're not sure which direction you're going.
Yeah, it's going to
yeah, you don't know whether you're going on holiday or coming home with Houghton, but never mind.
Yeah. So
all right. Well, let's see what happens on Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'd like to say thank you for Matt. Yeah, I'd like to say thank you for Matt for coming on.
All right, nice one. Thanks, Dan.
It's
the sun might come out this afternoon as well.
Hopefully.
All right. Take care. See you later.
Yeah.